Hey there, thinkers. Welcome back to Critical Hit. My name is Est, and well, look who's made her grand exit, or maybe she was shown the door. I give you Alysa Marante. Just 2 years after bringing her brand of advocacy to Kotaku, she's out, fired, quit, whatever story she's trying to spin. It's as if the universe itself is done with her particular brand of journalism. And don't we all know what that really means? The inevitable has arrived, and Alysa's Kotaku saga is finally in its closing chapter. Let's not forget, this is the same Alysa who's been championing an absurd list of causes ever since Gamergate 2.0 reared its head. It's as if there was an agenda to push, a hill to fight on, or a bandwagon to jump on, you would find Alysa right there, megaphone in hand. And it's honestly poetic that she's bowing out during Kotaku's latest wave of layoffs, and from the looks of it, she's not alone. Her profile practically reads like a graveyard of former staff members. So yeah, you can call it a win if you'd like, but Kotaku's doing what they do best, cutting ties, cutting costs, and cutting down the very voices they once hailed as their visionaries. So Alysa might try to make it sound like she left on her own terms, but something tells me Kotaku's got a different story. However, I have a few things to say here, but before I do, we have a small request. If you are new here, consider hitting the subscribe button, smashing that like, and ring the bell to be notified for our next video. We would greatly appreciate this, since this will help us appease those pesky YouTube algorithm gods. So we thank you. Now let me give you our thoughts on this, and let's get into it. Alright, buckle up, because here's where it gets interesting. So let me paint a little picture for you. I can't say whether this is true. I can't say for sure whether she was fired or quit, but let's be honest. Does it even matter at this point? But I've got a little theory brewing here. So what if this whole Gamergate 2 stunt that she tried to pull with Sweet Baby Inc. wasn't some grand moral crusade, but rather an attempt to jumpstart her career outside Kotaku? I mean, she's been insistently directing people to her Twitch channel lately. I mean, how convenient, right? As if launching a new career was the backup plan just in case she got the boot. And let's face it, that whole I'm leaving Kotaku on my own terms vibe, yeah, it doesn't add up. She's not exactly forthcoming with truth. Now, don't get me wrong, I can't say for absolute sure whether she was fired, but based on some whispers floating around, I'm leaning towards the forced out scenario. It's not just her either. Other people have been canned too, like Willa, who casually dropped that she's been laid off from Kotaku. Oh, and by the way, still doesn't know what's next for her. But hey, what do I know, right? It's just all too neat for this to be a coincidence. Honestly, it's almost like Kotaku went out of their way to find the most problematic hire and gave her the damn spotlight. For the past 6 months, she's practically been the embodiment of everything that was wrong with Kotaku. And it's honestly impressive how bad it's gotten. And you'd think they might, try to fix that image? But no, instead they're probably just hoping that if they get rid of her, all that rage will magically disappear. Well, unfortunately, it won't. So I did share this post last night, so let's look over what she said. Work news: after exactly 2 years, I've decided to leave Kotaku and my role as senior editor. I am eternally grateful for Kotaku's editorial team and all that they taught me during my time there. They are some of the best in the business, and I will be forever proud to have shared that masthead with them. They continually fight to maintain the editorial pillars that make Kotaku great and hold onto journalistic integrity in the face of increasing pressure to compromise that. Okay, let's just set the record straight here, shall we? Because nobody is out here begging Kotaku to sacrifice whatever shred of journalistic integrity they might have left. Because let's face it, they've already done all that on their own. So why bother asking them to make that leap when they've been free falling into the abyss for years now? Kotaku has become the go-to joke on the internet, and Alysa Marante is just the latest exhibit of the ongoing disaster. She's like the walking, talking example of what happens to you when you throw journalistic ethics out the window and replace it with a need to please all the wrong people. And let's not forget the real reason why Gamergate 2 exploded, and that was her article. It was such a train wreck of epic proportions. She crafted a piece so full of holes and omissions that it practically screamed, "I'm not going to tell you the truth, but here's a convenient narrative to push." Instead of owning up to the real story about how Gamergate 2 started, she opted to play cover-up for Sweet Baby Inc., a move that not only missed the mark completely, but it hit every branch of the backfire tree on the way down. That was the spark that lit the fire, and oh boy, did it burn her and Kotaku's credibility to the ground. So if Kotaku thought they could just do damage control with that piece, they definitely didn't expect it to blow up in their faces so spectacularly. It's like they were trying to put out a forest fire with a garden hose. So nice try though. Now, the managers at Go Media, probably out of some misguided sense of compassion or pure desperation, agree to give them a shot. Sure. Why not, they think. Let's give them some time to show us how this works. And here's where it gets juicy. They were likely hoping to replicate the magic of that Sweet Baby Inc. article. You remember that one? The one that somehow managed to rake in 50 million clicks in a month? It was basically their moment in the sun, a fluke that no one's really ever going to be able to explain. But they hoped that they could bottle it and make it happen again. And you know what happened? Well, surprise, surprise, Alysa couldn't recreate that viral success. She couldn't drum up she couldn't drum up the same level of attention, the same sensationalized controversy. And honestly, who can blame her? That article was a one-hit wonder. And this time, no amount of activism or agenda pushing was going to replicate that kind of success. The clicks just didn't come flooding in, and the results were nowhere what she promised. So we do have Alysa, the self-appointed activist with a flair for creating controversy, and her trusted sidekick, Carolyn Piet. Together, they waltz into Go Media offices, pleading with their higher-ups to let them continue doing their thing, activism, of course, on a site that's supposed to be about gaming. Because why should gaming journalism be about games when you can just push an agenda instead, right? So naturally, when Alyssa's big plan went up in flames, Go Media did exactly what any logical company would do. They cut ties. They didn't need a click-chasing activist on the payroll when her entire strategy revolves around cramming an agenda into a space it didn't belong. And let's be real here. Once the Big Bang didn't happen a second time, Alysa was about as useful as a broken joystick. So out she goes. Goodbye, Alysa. Your moment in the spotlight is over. And in the end, this whole thing is the perfect illustration of why mixing activism with gaming content is a gamble that rarely pays off. You can't just promise clicks by stirring up drama without delivering the goods. So let's finish her statement here. It's been a long few months during which I've learned a lot about myself and my value both as a woman and a writer. Like, isn't she non-binary? Like, doesn't she have pronouns or something? Like, I don't know. And I mean, of course, Alysa Marante isn't a writer. She's just out here throwing out vague, cryptic statements like, "It's the right decision for me, and I have some things coming down the pike, so keep your eyes peeled." Translation: I have absolutely no solid plans, but stay tuned while I figure this out. Like, here's the real kicker. Like, my money is on her pivoting straight into consultancy. I mean, like, come on, it's practically a given. I bet that she is about to sign on with Sweet Baby Inc., that legendary beacon of mediocrity. She recently took a little jaunt up to Canada, and guess where Sweet Baby Inc. is? In Canada, right? So why else would someone casually just book a trip up to Canada unless they're trying to rub elbows with a company that's famous for being the worst consulting firm on the planet? I mean, like, come on, the signs are right there. However, in a subsequent post, she said that this decision was made before the layoffs, but even more glad I made it. Caroline Piet also made a statement. Kotaku won't be the same without Alysa's fierce voice and unyielding commitment to more diverse and inclusive games industry. Like, I'll miss working with her so much. This comment right there is what makes me think that she's going to end up working with Sweet Baby Inc. That's her thing: diversity, equity, and inclusion. Where else would she end up other than going with Sweet Baby Inc. in Canada? Like, it would be the obvious choice. Kim Belair would love someone like Alysa Marante as an activist for SBI. Ultimately, it seems like Kotaku is firing people from the New York branch. You have Willa, who's gone, and ironically, Alysa Marante is gone at the same time. But while Willa admits they were fired, Alysa Marante is trying to make it seem like she left on her own accord. Like, I don't buy it in the slightest. However, those are my thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And hey, before you go, subscribe to our channel, smash that like button, and ring the bell to be notified for our next video. As always, this is Est, and I'm signing off now. So I'll see you in the next one. Toodles!